Oh, hey guys, Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. So a lot of people have written in about telephone and data systems. We've been long this stock for a few months here, and shares jumped about 30% after the Wall Street Journal reported that, Verizon and T-Mobile are actually finally looking to buy the company, to carve up its assets, basically. And, I know that T-Mobile was talking about taking one piece of the business and paying $2 billion for it. That doesn't include another piece that Verizon would take. And this is really good. Well, $2 billion is a lot of money for a company that has basically a couple $1 billion market cap. That's why the shares jumped 30% and look to jump a little bit higher. My estimation is that the Verizon piece that they're looking to take, the spectrum and the capacity, the customer base, is going to be about another $2.5–3 billion. So basically, we're talking about TDS, which which recommended when it had about a $1.8 billion market cap, is sitting on assets that are going to be worth about $4.5–5 billion. That's why we thought the company, when we recommended it in the $16 range, was worth 40–50 bucks a share. Thankfully, it popped up 30%. It looks set to move up higher. But again, what's taken so long on this takeover pick that I've given you is, what these guys are trying to do is they're actually talking to the Justice Department, both of these companies, T-Mobile and Verizon. They're trying to carve up this company in a way that has no anti-competitive issues with the Justice Department. So they're really talking to them saying, look, if we take this piece, would you give us an issue with anti-competitive stuff? Would you try to block the merger? If T-Mobile says, if we take that other piece, that complements our network, it shouldn't be a violation of antitrust issues, would you allow us? So they're really trying to work with their lawyers and work with the Justice Department to really put telephone and data systems, US Cellular, out of its misery, because US Cellular is just, a regional carrier just can't afford to buy the spectrum. It doesn't have the scale and the size to compete with these national carriers. I mean, you're serving 51 million people and you're bidding on these spectrum licenses, especially for 5G, which are so outrageously expensive. Because remember, US Cellular, TDS, they're bidding against Verizon, T-Mobile, you name it, just AT&T, just to get these licenses. And those bigger companies have a lot more money to bid. You really can't compete in that kind of world. So I'm glad that the management of that company finally sees the reality here, which is really an issue of accepting the reality that you can't compete. You lost the competition game. You could have made moves earlier, which would have prevented this, but you didn't. So you got to accept where you are and deal with that. You got to play the ball where it is, not where you want it to be. So you got to just keep on that and move on. So, I'm happy to report that TDS has been up. I'm happy to report that it looks like a deal is inching closer. But again, patience is the watchword for telephone and data systems. Thank you.